Hi, it's Margie from Margelous Creations, and welcome to my Learn to Crochet series. So if you've been following along on my series up to this point, you should no longer be a beginner. You should be moving on to easy patterns and maybe even possibly intermediate patterns as long as you guys have been practicing your stitches. So from here on out, we're going to be working on easy and intermediate patterns. On today's video, we're going to be going over So I am making it two-toned, right? So that's going to be color working, and that's what we're going over in today's video is color working. So I'm going to start off with my burgundy color, and then the undercolor is going to be the cream. I like starting with a quick ring or a magic ring, magic circle, but you can just start, if you're not comfortable with that yet, you can just start with a chain 3, and then you join the circle and you crochet. You do this part into the chain 3 circle. So then once we have our circle, we chain 3, and then we double crochet 7. We double crochet 7 into this ring because that first chain actually counts for this row as a double crochet. Five, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then our chain is 8. So then I tighten it, but I don't tighten it all the way. I like tightening it once I'm a few rows in. Okay, so then we join to the top of that chain 3 with a slip stitch. So from here on out, that chain 2 does not count as a double crochet. So then we front post double crochet in 2 around each stitch. So we go around that first starting chain twice, and remember around the front posts, which I went over in a previous Learn to Crochet video. Okay, and then we join to that starting chain. So then I tug the center tight, and there's the end of row 2. So then row 3 starts off with a chain 2. Remember, the chain doesn't actually count. Okay, so we've got our chain 2. Then we are going to front post double crochet around the first one, and we're going to front post double crochet around the second one, but we are not going to finish this loop. This is where our color working starts. So up to this point, you may have been wondering why I'm wearing 2 rings on my fingers. Well, these are my tension guide rings, or they prevent yarn burn, and because of my speed, I do get burnt by some materials, mainly the acrylic. And so I like having the second color wound between the second finger. To start off with color work, that is a little hard to do, so I am going to show you both ways. So we have not finished our second half double crochet. We are going to finish it by adding in our second color. And the reason we do that instead of adding it afterwards is so that the edges of the loop are nice, because this is what ultimately forms the top of the next stitch. So we've pulled our loop through here. Now, we've got, in different patterns, they can refer to it as color A, color B, or MC, as in main color, CC, contrasting color. If there's multiple colors, it might say, you know, CA, CB, CC, so color A, color B, color C. It all depends on what the designer of the pattern actually writes down. So I'm just referring it to color 1, color 2, I may call it burgundy, I may call it white, because, well, I'm Marge and I suffer from short-term memory loss. So we're going to take our main color, our working color of our burgundy, and we're going to hold it over to this side, like we're working over the tail of it, right? But we're working over the working end of it. Then we're going to do a double crochet, not around the post, but into this stitch here. So by doing this, this is forming our increase for this row. So we're not actually going to finish this double crochet with the cream. We are going to finish it with the burgundy. So then you see, right? That's why we finished the last stitch with the cream, so that it's the same color along the top. It does get a little confusing sometimes, but just remember, if you are switching colors, to switch the color before you end the stitch, okay? So then we are going to front post double crochet around 2, but this is the second one, so we're not finishing that. We're bringing the second color, and we're going to finish that stitch with the second color. So then again, we're working over our working edge into that loop. We're not finishing with the second color, we're finishing with the main color. Okay, so now I am going to actually loop both of these around my fingers so that I don't have to continue putting it down. And so because it's only on 3 fingers, I like wrapping the second color around my pinky. So then front post double crochet 2, without finishing the second one in the main color, we finish it in the second color, and then so the reason I like doing this is because then the colors are getting trapped as we go, right? Because they are being worked around each other. So you may find you need to pull the end of your red, the end of your main color, so that your finger is tighter if you need it. Front post double crochet 2 without finishing the second one. We finish it in the second color, and then we double crochet, and we don't finish it with the second color, we finish it with the first color. So then we repeat this around. Now if you are just doing this pattern to do the pattern without color work, then you don't need to change the colors. Just continue on in your first color all around, because they do look really good in a solid color as well. I just have been making them in the secondary colors because I had the idea for it, and the first one I did was actually the gray and pink one I made last year for my grandmother. Okay, so this is the starting of row 3, and we do our last stitch is a double crochet right in that same space where we joined to the last round. And then we finish it with the main color. And we join. So I've got the main color on the loop, I'm through a main color. So what I like to do when I'm finishing this slip stitch is I go under the white, the cream color, and then I hook the main color underneath, and that just, what that does is that traps the second color at the edge of the row there. That is the end of row 3, and our next row starts with a chain 2. So you can see we are continuing our 2 front posts up, and we are doing the increases in the second color. We're going to be doing pretty much the exact same thing, except we're going to be increasing in the spaces where we didn't do white before. So we've chained our 2, and we are starting with our front post double crochet, but we're not finishing it. We're finishing it in the cream, and then we're doing a 1 double crochet, but we're not finishing it. We're finishing it in the main color, and then front post double crochet. So in this one, we are going to be switching every stitch. We are going to be switching our colors. So we've got our front post, our double crochet, our front post. So then this is a double crochet into the double crochet we made last row. And that's what we do around. So front post without finishing, finish in the second color, and then double crochet, finishing in the main color, front post, double crochet, finishing in the second color, and that's what we do around. And that is the end of our row. So then we join to the top of that chain 2 with our main color, remembering to trap that second color. If you want, when you are doing your chains, so that was our slip stitch, so if you want, when you're doing your chains, you can actually continue to trap it as you go up your chain. Do you see that? So then, you see that line? That's from us carrying it up the last time. But this way, it's up the chain and it's not noticeable. Okay, so that is the end of row 4. And so you can see how our pattern is starting to shape up in the different colors. So if we didn't finish each one, if we finished each one normally and then just started at the next one, the top of each one wouldn't be finished in the proper color. So I'm just going to show you quickly how that would look with just regular double crochets if I was to do that, and then so finished it normally and then go into finishing, like just yarn over and pull up. So you can see how the top of each one is in a different color. Now in some patterns that may be okay, because it might be what you're going for, right? It might be the look that you're wanting. But in this case, we don't want that because then it would be jarring to our pattern. Okay, so we are going to start row 5. So this is our chain here. So we don't go into the chain, we work into the front post. And we do the front post double crochet, finishing in the second color. And then we do the double crochet and finish in the next one. And then our front post double crochet, finishing in the other color. And then in this one, we do 2 into that same space of the second color. And then finish with our main color. So that's going to be our repeat. So front post double crochet, front post double crochet, double crochet 2. And we're going to continue that around. These were starting to get tied up in my fingers, so I am just going to loop them here so they don't bother me, and then I will go through and weave them in. So when you're carrying through, it's possible that it'll loop like that. All you need to do is just pull that your working loop tight, or pulling on the string here to get it to be the right, so that it's not showing through the back there. And there we go. So we've got our 2 double crochets in our last stitch, and then we slip stitch join to that chain, and that's the end of row 5. In row 6, we're going to be doing the exact same thing, except we'll still do 2 in this one, so 1 here and 1 here, but in this one we're going to be doing 2 in the same stitch. So we start off with our chain 2, double crochet front post, finishing in the second color, and then 2 in this one, front post double crochet, and then double crochet 2. And then we repeat that around. And that is the end of row 6. So moving on to row 7, we are increasing yet again. Okay. Then we front post double crochet, and we do 1 in each. So we double crochet 2. So there's 1, and then there's our 2. Okay, and then we front post double crochet. Now this is where the increase happens. So we're going to 2 double crochet into this first one here, and that's our increase. Okay, and then we're going to double crochet 1, so that we now have 3 white stitches in between 2 front post double crochets. So it'll be 2, 3, 2, 3 around on this row. This is our last section of row 7, and this is an increase. So 2 in there. And then slip stitch join. So there's row 7. So 2, 3. You should just go through and make sure that it goes 2, 3, so that you don't mess up. There we go. Moving on to row 8. This row, we're going to be doing 3 double crochet in the second color throughout. So we started with our chain 2, front post double crochet, and then 2 double crochet in this first one, and then double crochet 1 in that one, and then we're doing double crochet 3. This is the last section of row 8. So my last increase, so 2 in this one, one in the next one, front post double crochet, then double crochet 3, and slip stitch join with the main color. So that gives us 3 stitches in between each of the front post double crochets. And that gives us our flat hat circle. So the size of the flat hat part is really going to be the circumference of your hat. So if I was doing this with a different sized hook, it would be slightly bigger. Or if it was doing it with a smaller, it would be a smaller size. And so at the end of round 8, we will have 64 stitches. We will have 64 stitches going around for the rest of this pattern. So now we're on to row 9. So we're actually going to switch to our secondary color because we are finished increasing. So I am going to actually slip stitch over 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I'm going to chain 1. Now this is where I'm going to start my row. So I've slip stitched 3 over. Then I'm going to bring my working color, my first color, my main color, over top and around through the back and pull it over onto this side. I'm doing that so that when I start the next row, so when I start row 10, it's where I need it to be. So then I'm going to chain 1, and so like we did, so that's captured, that color is captured right there. Then I'm going to single crochet 1 in each stitch around. So that will be 64 single crochets around. We are back to where we started here with our slip stitches. So we are just going to single crochet over top of those slip stitches. So we're going to join to our chain. And then I'm switching to my main color. I am going to bring the secondary color up through the chain because I will need it for the row after that. So we just finished row 9, and that was single crochet 64. So then bringing it up with the chain, so chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm just going to put the cream over the white over on that side. So our chain 3 here counts as a double crochet. Then we are going to do 3 front post double crochets around this post from row 8. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then we are going to do a double crochet. So there's 4 stitches here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This 4th one is technically the double crochet. Okay? So this one here is for this front post double crochet. So that leaves us with 3 stitches here. So where we're working here, so we skip this one, 1, 2, and we go into the 3rd single crochet there, which is right in the middle of the regular double crochets there. So we go into that 3rd stitch there, and we just do a regular double crochet, and then we do our 3 front post double crochets around this post from row 8. And that is our repeat. So double crochet 1, front post double crochet 3. So then this was our starting chains of row 8, right? So there's the starting chain, and that was the front post double crochet. So we go around the front post double crochet 3 times, and then we started. This was our starting chain, which counts as a double crochet, right? So then we go into the top of that chain 3, and we do our slip stitch. So then that's going to be our repeat until we get it to the length we want. So it'll be a row of single crochet, and then a row of the 3 front post double crochets and a double crochet. So I'm switching to the next color, and this will be row 11. So we need to slip stitch over 3 so that we are in the middle here of these 3 front post double crochets. So we want to be right here when we start. So then 1, 2, 3, bring the other color over top and then behind, so that it's where we need it when we start the next round. And then we chain 1 and single crochet around. Okay, so we need to make sure we go over those slip stitches. And then we join to our chain and switch our color. And then carry our white up as we do our chain 3 of our next row, and that counts as our double crochet. We front post double crochet around the double crochet we made in row 10. And then we skip 2 and we do a double crochet in the middle of our front post double crochet cluster, or I've been calling them bobble stitches. And then so then we front post double crochet 3, And that is our repeat. So we double crochet into the middle there, and 3 front post double crochet around the double crochet of 2 rows before. So that is the last front post cluster, front post bobble there. And then we slip stitch join to that chain 3, which is technically our first double crochet. We're repeating row 9 and row 10 the whole way over. And you can see here how our pattern is going. And that's going to repeat. So I usually do between either 7 or 8 of these rows, so that you'll have 7 or 8 rows of the clusters, depending on how long you want it. So each of these is about 2.5 centimeters, which is about an inch. So depending on how long you want them, you can even add more and make it into slouchy toque, if you like slouchy toques. If I'm actually making this into a bun toque, I actually start at row 3. So that was where we started adding in our color. Okay, and I'll see you back here once I am finished how long I want it. Okay, so a couple of days has actually passed since I last recorded this section because I got sick. And I actually have a different colored crochet hook today because I started another project while I was sick. And the pink one went into that one, but it is the exact same hook size. It's a G. So as you can see here, this is my basic toque. Ta-da! So I have 8 rows of the cluster here, of the 3 front post double crochets. I have made these before without the brim, and this is where I leave them. So I actually finished off with 2 rows here of single crochet instead of just the 1 row here, which we can see peeking through. So you do as many rows as your bobble that you want, and then you single crochet 2 rows. Then you can leave it like this for a brimless one, and that's our inside. It's pretty cool inside. So you can leave it like this for your brimless one, or you can put the brim on it. So for putting the brim, we need to single crochet in the next 46 stitches. So that means I find it easier to count it out and put a stitch marker, but I didn't actually bring a stitch marker, so I'm just going to use my trusty dusty darning needle. So that's 1, 2. $4, $5, 46. Okay, so I'm just actually going to just kind of stick this in there so I know that I've got to go through that one, and I'm not going to poke myself with it. So then we single crochet in just those stitches. and into that one. Okay, so we have crocheted our 46. That is the starting of our brim. That is row 1 of the brim. And then we chain and turn. And then we just crochet back, single crochet into those same 46 stitches. Okay, and into that last stitch there and chain 1. So there is row 2 of our brim. So row 1 went this way and row 2 went this way. So we now are going to crochet a total of 10 rows for the brim. So that's 2, so we have another 8 left. My camera died. So I crocheted a little bit while it charged, and I actually have just finished row 9 of the brim. So you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you get to see me do the last row, row 10 of the brim. And there we go. Okay. And then we cut our yarn and do a chain and pull through. And it is finished. I do need to weave in the ends still. Okay. And then what causes the peak is from pinning it up at an angle like this. You see? And that causes you to have that brim. I'm not too sure yet what buttons to put on, but really you put your buttons at around right there. I really like those ones actually. Those ones look cute. You could also use a white button. I do find the bigger the buttons, the better they look. I've got a couple actually of these little heart ones. I don't know which buttons to use. But there you go. After weaving in all the ends and placing your buttons, you have a wonderful women's peaked toque hat. So I hope this stitch or technique really helped you guys out with your crocheting. I would love it if you shared what you made with me on my social media. So on Ravelry, on Instagram, or on Facebook. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe, and you'll see me on the next video. Then we chain 2. 1, 2. So from here on out, there's a pin. There was a pin sticking out and I just stabbed myself with it. coffee break. And yes, I slurped just for you guys. So then we've got our 2 half double crochets. No, wait. Did that wrong. Where did I go wrong? I lost my friend somewhere along the bitterness end. And now I'm going to speed it up so you can talk and make noise, Chloe. Did you find your letters, babe? All night, if I'd known how to save a life. Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one. But the kid is not my son.